we are going to do a live stream. And this is like a Fish Friday / question and answer live stream. So I have a couple of questions prepared until I get questions from you guys. So first question is, what is my favorite fish to catch? Which that will be a redfish. The redfish is one of my favorite fish to catch just because it's beautiful and it's just fun fighting. It's just an amazing experience to catch a redfish. And just keep that in mind that redfish are just amazing fish to fight too, which is awesome. So, another question I'm going to answer. So what is my favorite rod and reel combo? My favorite rod and reel combo right now is the Daiwa Revolvos with a Daiwa and Laguna rod. The 7'6" version. It is amazing and it just is a lot of fun to use. You wouldn't expect it to be so much fun to use, but it really is. It's awesome. It's you can. Alrighty, we're back at it. So we are going to answer some questions right now. So, what is my favorite body of water to fish? That would be the Indian River. The Indian River is an awesome place to fish. It is really cool, and the Indian River is, well, it's awesome. And my second favorite place to fish is probably the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean is really fun to just fish generally because there's so many different like variables. So you can catch a huge shark or a huge bluefish, redfish, black drum. You really can catch anything in the ocean. That's why it's one of my favorite bodies of water to fish. It's awesome. What's the best river fish to use for ocean fishing? I would say that would probably be the ladyfish. I actually caught a few ladyfish today. Stay tuned for that video. Just because you can chunk them up and throw them out for sharks, and it is pretty good bait, honestly. Yeah. And that is why it's amazing to use chunked fish for sharks and stuff. I'm actually going to make a shark video real soon. I'm using huge chunks of mullet. What's up, everybody that just joined the chat? We're doing a question and answer thing for fishing, and I'm starting off with a few questions. So, what is the best fish to use for ocean fishing that you catch in the river? That would be the ladyfish. Hunk them up, like I said before, for sharks and stuff. They're fantastic, and you catch a lot of good fish when you're out there with live mullet, live ladyfish, or cut ladyfish. It just depends on where you're at in the ocean or river, which I try to catch some fish on cut ladyfish today. I hooked a crab, which is interesting. Unfortunately, for cut bait, that's one of the big problems that you get. So there is a lot of different variables for like everything saltwater fishing, and one of the best ways to tell saltwater fishing compared to any other fishing is the amount of like strain that you have to do. It takes so much more work doing saltwater fish than freshwater fishing, just because there's just so many different things. But it's just crazy how like you have to get certain reels, and you have to get thousands of different just things generally for it. And I have like probably close to 75 rod and reel combos. A lot of money goes into saltwater fishing compared to freshwater fishing. And any questions from you guys while I'm answering some of these? So, you dare me to shark fish, and if I don't, I have to dye my hair blue. Interesting. I will shark fish. I'm not sure about the dye my hair blue part. I don't have the best shark fishing. Maybe during the summertime when I'm almost guaranteed to catch a shark any day of the week. But that's a pretty good challenge. I may have to make a YouTube video on that. That's pretty interesting. That is pretty interesting. But we have a bunch of different things that we can talk about today. It's also Friday, so Fish Friday. My favorite fish to eat is trout, speckled trout. We also have gator trout, and there's so many different types of trout that are very, very, very good to eat. And they're pretty hard to catch most of the time. sometimes redfish and trout go in the same group, and you kind of have to catch the trout to get the redfish, or vice versa. It just depends. But the best bait I use for trout, for gator trout and saltwater, is NLBN lures. They're one of my favorite baits to use. NLBN lures. I've caught many things. I've caught ladyfish on them today. Literally like 3 hours ago, I caught ladyfish on NLBNs. How strong can I pull a fishing rod? I'm not sure. Pull. I can pull a fishing rod pretty strong. I can reel in Goliath grouper and like 8-foot sharks before, so I can probably get that rod in pretty quick. So that is, I'm not sure like the exact strength. I would assume, depending on the rod. If it's an ultralight, probably like 20 pounds before snapping. If it's like a really heavy duty shark rod, probably about like maybe 100 pounds max. It just, mostly the power comes from the reel, mostly, especially big reels. Have you ever got a baby bluegill? I have got many baby bluegill. I actually made a video recently of me catching baby bluegill, and it was a pretty good video. But there is so many like bluegill out there. I prefer saltwater fishing, but freshwater fishing is fun. One of the good stories I have for today is Lake Ida is one of the best places to fish, because Lake Ida has what's called clown knifefish. Clown knifefish are a great fish to catch, and I've never eaten one, but I heard they're pretty good, and they are giant. What is my best video? The best video I've ever made, in my opinion, is actually one that didn't get nearly as many views as I thought. It was my Tennessee fishing trip video, where I went to catch rainbow trout in the mountains and climbed down a like 300-foot waterfall to go catch fish. That was a pretty good video, if I don't say so myself. And probably another one of those videos is probably my Patrick Air Force Base video, where I spent 4 days at Patrick Air Force Base catching giant fish, trout, trying to catch redfish and sharks. That was probably one of my pretty good videos too. That was one of my favorite videos to film, just because it was just awesome to film at a military base. This is one of my favorite things to do. And there's just a lot of different things I can go. My most favorite video, probably the Patrick Air Force Base. So the most fun filming was probably that, or the Tennessee video. It just depends on what you want to watch. So there's a lot of different like videos out there that I've made. I've made over 500 videos, so it's kind of hard to pick one, but those two are pretty good. So another one of just my absolute favorite things to do while fishing is, have you guys ever tried magnet fishing? That is extremely fun. What favorite fish do I have? My favorite fishes are redfish. Redfish are really cool. They're awesome fish to catch. They drum when you catch them, so they like vibrate when you catch them, and it feels really cool because you just have like a 50-inch fish vibrating, and it feels like you're holding like a drum or something. It feels like someone's banging a suspending cymbal, and you're just like shaking. That's why I love them. They're also big and beautiful. Some of them are huge, some of them are tiny. They're just fun to catch, generally speaking. I do enjoy them a lot, that's for sure. Some of the fish I've caught. Can I show some fish? I'm trying to see if I have it. I do have a picture of the clown knifefish that I was talking about, and it is a big fish. It was about, I think somewhere close to 43 inches. I have a picture over on my wall. This is it right here. This is the picture of the clown knifefish I've caught in South Florida. It is giant. It is probably about like 43 inches. It was about a year and a half since I've caught that fish. That was a big fish. And I don't have any other pictures throughout my room of fish I've caught. If you want to see more of the fish, just like go into like the shorts of my YouTube channel, and you can just see like a bunch of different videos here and there of me catching big redfish, sharks, big trout, and just a bunch of different fish. I have it like all in like playlist. You can check out like the River Giant playlist or like the river monsters, ocean predators, and different things. What is the hardest fish to get? That will go to the tarpon. The tarpon is the most elusive fish I've ever tried to catch. I've been fishing for close to 12 years, and I could not catch a tarpon until in the summer. Then I caught two in a week period of time. I caught one on bluegill. That one was around, I think, 4 feet long. The other one I caught on an NLBN lure in a river, and it was about 2.5 feet long. That is the hardest fish, pound for pound, fighting and everything like that. It's just so hard to catch. Have you ever got a swordfish? I have never caught a swordfish before. I want to. Really want to catch a swordfish and a marlin and a yellowfin tuna. Those offshore fish I have not caught any. I have not gone offshore fishing yet. I just don't really like to go offshore. It's not really part of my what I like to do, but I will do it eventually, especially if I get like a crazy light goal or something I said. I will go fishing out in the surf. It is pretty fun to go fishing in the ocean too. I've done it once of just like inshore, and I barely remember that. I was like 7, but there's just a lot of different variables that go out to going out in the ocean. Let me grab some water real quick. Oh man. Whew. So another question I'm ready to answer is, why is summer fishing and winter fishing different? And the great answer for that is that the water temperature is different, meaning different fish are in, different fish are deeper, and it's just different things are happening. So I caught a bunch of ladyfish today. Today is one of the first days in Florida where it's not freezing this year, and there was a bunch of ladyfish everywhere. I even saw dolphins, manatees, and I'm pretty sure I saw a shark at some point. And those things are huge. Huge. And they're in. What is that hardest fish I've got? Hardest fighting fish? I'll do that. Hardest fighting fish is probably the Goliath grouper I caught, because I was almost dragged into the water trying to catch that fish. And it was like 200 pounds almost. I think a little bit more. My memory is not the best because it was a long time ago. But it was a giant fish. It almost pulled me in the water. It was probably like this thick. It was huge. It was like the circle of things. It was in Port Canaveral, Florida, is where I caught that dude under a cruise ship. I think it was a Carnival cruise ship, actually. And it was under there, and it was huge. I caught him on a whole kingfish carcass. The kingfish was about 45 inches, and I caught that entire fish on a kingfish carcass. It was crazy. Yeah, that was insane when I caught that fish. I was super excited. There's also, there's only a couple fish that I've only caught one of. Thank you, I appreciate it. You have a great day too. So yeah, one of the other big fish that I've caught that are crazy is cobia. Cobia are so elusive around land, and I've only caught one, and it was from a pier in Port Canaveral. It was 1.5 inch too short to keep legally. And it was crazy because there's so many different things that I have to do to catch that fish, and it was just extremely hard. What's up, just soy sauce? Nice to see you enter the chat. You got any questions for me about fishing? While people are typing in the chat, I got a few stories to tell of fish, and one of the scariest fishing experiences I've ever had was in a place in Titusville, Florida. That was crazy with a gator. Let me answer this question first. What is the most expensive rod and reel I own? That one's hard. If we go by vintageness, just by pure vintage and stuff, probably one of my rods I bought in my latest video. That's expensive, but if we're going by what I actually bought them for, probably my Penn Battle DX 5000 or my Penn Mariner combo, which both of those run you about $500. They're one of them's a shark fishing combo, the other one is a this inshore combo. The 5000 size is kind of like inshore. It's pretty much where we're getting at here. Like the scary experience I was about to say is, so I was fishing and a giant gator came up on me and my mom while we were fishing. We went in the car. That thing just kind of circled around. It went back in the water. It was like probably 6 to 8 feet long. I'm not 100% sure because I wasn't like standing out. I didn't want to like be the crocodile hunter and be like, oh, cracky, that's an alligator. But that was one of my scariest fishing experiences. I've also fished in storms before. One of my videos, one of my favorite videos I filmed, was over in Venice Beach. That was a huge thunderstorm. We went in under in balcony, but the fish were hitting like crazy. We're catching Jacobel and Spanish mackerel. I was fishing with some of my buddies down there, and wow, that was insane. It was dangerous because they were on a jetty with rocks, but it was fun to do. And thank you for joining the chat. Just soy sauce, like I said. You got any more questions for me? So while he's typing, I'll answer a few questions. And I do have some merch that I'm trying to get, which is fun. I'm wearing one of my merchandise right now, which is my hat. And I'm also going to try to get it up in the next 2 years of selling merch. Hopefully we'll be able to get that up and running pretty soon. And I have a bunch of fish to explain for Fish Friday. So Fish Friday, as you guys know, it's question and answering, but it's also learning about fish. So the learning about fish part is kind of interesting because we're going to learn about the peacock bass right now. The peacock bass, contrary to popular belief, is not actually a bass. It is a cichlid. It is a giant cichlid. And they're in South America most of the time. And South America is just like one of those places that fish are everywhere. You got red-tailed catfish and so many different giant fish that are down there. It's crazy. But peacock bass, you can catch them on live shiners down in South Florida. Lake Ida is one of the best places to catch these fish. They're really cool to catch. They're also a little bit dangerous because they have like little chompers. If you put your thumb in their mouth, I actually probably have cuts and scars on my thumbs from like lipping them and then just shaking and like tearing my skin apart. I probably have a video on my channel somewhere. I think I do actually. It's like titled "Earning That Fish" or something like that. But these fish are giant, and they get really big. My biggest one personally is, I'm pretty sure it was 6 pounds. It was a giant fish, like absolutely giant. And one of my favorite experiences in South Florida was catching one of those. My very first peacock bass ever. I caught it on a charter, and it was awesome. He jumped out of the water. He made like a whole fighting scene. It was awesome. Like, it's one of the best experiences catching a new fish for the first time. Like a tarpon or a shark. When you first catch that shark that you've been looking for, that's crazy. I remember one of my first sharks. It was a giant bonnethead shark. It was like 4 feet long, which is big for bonnethead standards. And he like thrashed and he was fighting hard. I thought I had like a good redfish on. This was back in probably 2017-ish. This was a long time ago. This was a very long time ago. But fishing is one of those things that I've been doing for a very long time. So we're getting close to the end of time. Got a couple more minutes left. But do we have any fish that you would like me to talk about? Any fish that we have in freshwater, saltwater, Florida, or just generally any fish? I could probably tell you some facts about it and how to catch some of them. So I got a comment. The rarest catfish. That would probably go to the platinum red-tailed catfish. And red-tailed catfish are pretty rare to find in Florida. Anyhow, I've not really had experience with catching them. I've watched many videos of like bass fishing productions and Land Shark Outdoors going out there and trying to catch them. But you know that they're really rare, just generally in Florida, but add the platinum to it, and those fish will run you a lot of money. You can also got arapaimas in Florida and arowana. There's a lot of exotic fish in Florida that should not be in Florida, but they are. Great example of that is Mayan cichlids. They should not be where they are. They're in the ocean and river. That's insane. They're freshwater fish. They're in the ocean and river. They're invading everything. They're literally some of the most invasive fish like ever. They're crazy. But I would probably say platinum red-tailed catfish is the rarest catfish. And do you guys think I should go try to catch a red-tailed catfish in South Florida? Let me know in the comments, because that would be kind of cool to go catch a red-tailed catfish. What's up? Thank you for joining, Phantom Master. What's up? Yeah, that catching a platinum red-tailed catfish would be fire. That would be awesome. And there's a lot of fish that I want to catch. There's a bunch of fish in Europe too. Like you have Spain, England, Germany, and different places right over there. They have Wels catfish, which is a big catfish. They're giant. I want to catch one of those. Are you allowed to eat it? Allowed to eat the Wels catfish or the platinum red-tailed catfish? The Wels catfish you cannot eat, of my knowledge, and the platinum red-tailed catfish you do not. Like, oh, the red-tail you cannot. It's like a super expensive fish, and it's like probably, I think, $1,000 to get your hands on one of them for a pet. Is crazy. Didn't I catch a bass at Disney? I have caught not red-tail catfish at Disney. I have caught largemouth bass at Disney. They are big fish. They're one of my favorite fish to catch, especially at Disney. And there was a bunch of fish around there. You can catch them on lures or on reel. I caught the biggest one on a whopper plopper, and I caught him in Disney Springs. That was awesome, watching the air balloon go up and stuff. It was awesome. Yeah, cooking red-tailed catfish would be a little bit frowned upon just because it's an exotic fish. If I could do it with like a Mayan cichlid, those exotic fish, there's no regulations because those are invasive. I could do a catch and cook with one of those. If you guys would like to see a catch and cook with an invasive fish, I could probably make that happen. So, one of my favorite fishing experiences that I've had in the past couple years, I'm going to go with probably my trip to Tennessee. My trip to Tennessee was awesome. I caught so many awesome fish. I caught my very first rainbow trout, which one of the most delicious fish I've ever tasted. They're just such a good tasting meat. They're like a white meat mixed with like a salmon, and it tastes so good because it's not too fishy. And it tastes even better when you caught it yourself directly in Tennessee and go cook it up in your cabin. It's awesome. That is one of my favorite experiences. And there was no bears in Tennessee. I didn't see a single bear when I was up in Tennessee, which is kind of weird, come to think of it, because Tennessee's kind of bear country. But is there any other fish you guys would like to talk about for Fish Friday? There's a lot of fish that I would like to talk about, but see y'all's opinion first to see if you guys have some more fish that you guys want me to answer. Let me go get a drink of water. Favorite freshwater fish. I'm going to do a couple categories for that. My favorite freshwater fish to eat is rainbow trout. My favorite freshwater fish to catch is probably the clown knifefish. They're so much fun. They jump. I actually have a picture of one right here. This one was like 30 inches, or not 30 inches, like 50 inches. This thing was so long. It was almost longer than I was. And I'm a pretty tall guy. I think back then I was like 5'6"-ish. And that was like 2.5 years ago. Yeah, rainbow trout are interesting fish. They're so tasty. There's still some in my freezer from last time I went to Tennessee, and those fish are really tasty. I am going to go till probably 2 or 3 more minutes. Any more questions about any more fish before I go? Because I got to go editing a video. It's a banger video. I went shark bait hunting with my grandpa today, trying to catch big ladyfish and redfish and stuff. Can't use redfish for shark bait, but you can for ladyfish and croakers and stuff. And I got to get to editing that video soon. But any more questions before I go? Are sharks scary? Yes. To some people, sharks are scary. I personally love sharks. They're one of my favorite fish to even see. Sharks they get a bad rap. Definitely get a bad rap just because, oh my gosh, there's a giant shark in the water. But I've never been attacked by a shark. I've stepped on stingrays. I've stepped on many sharks, especially bonnethead sharks, in the surf from going out casting. I've had very close encounters with sharks. None of them bite me. I've never been bit by a shark. Have been bit by a bluefish before. I have a chunk taken out of my face from a bluefish. And it is wild how big some of these sharks are in Florida, especially the ones like the sandbar sharks and the tiger sharks are giant. The bull sharks are even bigger. And sharks are awesome. Justice for sharks. Yeah, hashtag justice for sharks. Let's get that out there. But hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys on the next episode of River Rat Life. Thank you all for joining.